All right, underneath here, the next example says find a polynomial function with real coefficients with a degree of 4. So we're looking for 4 zeros. And we know that 3 plus 2i is a 0. We also know that we have a 0 at 4, and it has a multiplicity of 2. Now this wants us to write out the polynomial function. And so when we do that, it comes in the form f of x equals some coefficient, which we don't know, so we're going to call that a, and then we write out our factors. So our first factor that we're going to use is 3 plus 2i. Now turning a complex number into a 0 or a 0 into a factor could be tricky for some of you, but let's show you how it works. 3 plus 2i. How do we change something from 0 form to factor form? We subtract everything on the right side over to the left. So this would be x minus 3 minus 2i. And that's our factor there. Now, don't forget that if we have 3 plus 2i, we also have to have 3 minus 2i. So let's change that into a factor. X, and so we're going to subtract minus 3 plus 2i. All right, next, let's look at the next set of zeros. We have 4, but we know that has a multiplicity of 2. So if we write 4 as a factor, it would be x minus 4. Multiplicity of 2 means it happens twice. You can either square it or you can write it out twice. For some of you, it will be easier to go ahead and write it out twice if we are trying to multiply all this together. Okay, now let's talk about multiplying polynomials for a moment. Let's multiply these two together right here first. And hope we don't run out of room, but I can find some more paper if we do. If you use the word FOIL, you're going to struggle a little bit. Don't FOIL. Multiply it together, distribute, okay? So we're going to take the first term and multiply it by everything. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. X times positive 2i is plus 2xi. Now I'm done with this, and I'm going to move to the negative 3. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 3 times 2i is negative 6i. All right, the last term. Negative 2i times x is negative 2xi. Negative 2i times negative 3 is positive 6i. Negative 2i times positive 2i is negative, so negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. I times I is I squared. Let's talk about I squared for just a minute. Hopefully you remember what I squared equals. If you do not, let's talk about it. I squared equals negative 1. So if we see an I squared, we want to replace that with a negative 1. Get rid of it. All right, now let's clean up the rest of it. We have x squared. I'm going to bring it down. So I'm done with that. I can almost put a mark through it. Let's count up all of our single x's that we have. So we have negative 3x and negative 3x, and that's it. So we have negative 6x. So it looks like I'm done with that. Let's count up all of our xi's. 2xi minus 2xi, that cancels out. Okay, let's go over to the other i's. Minus 6i plus 6i, that's going to cancel out. That should happen, okay? So then you end up with 9 And then over here, you have -4 times -1, so this is actually +4. So all of this together equals +4. So +9 plus 4 gives you +13. Okay, now I'm going to move this over here a little bit. And I'm going to look at this x minus 4 times x minus 4 right here. So let's do this portion. And this is the way I would do it. I would multiply these two together first. So x minus 4 times x minus 4. Now this is squaring a binomial. If you know the pattern, it's easier. But if you don't, you can multiply it just the way we did over here. So x times x is x squared. X times -4 is -4x. -4 times x is -4x. And -4 times -4 is +16. So this cleans up as x squared minus 8x plus 16. Now we have this, and we have this, and we need to multiply those two together. Okay, let's do it. All right, so I'm going to bring this red guy over here and say x squared minus 6x plus 13. And let's distribute this. So x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times -6x is -6x cubed. X squared times 13 is +13x squared. So I'm done with that. Let's go to the -8x. -8x times x squared is -8x cubed. -8x times -6x is +6 times 8 is 48. X times x, x squared. -8x times 13. Now this is where my multiplication skills are going to be challenged a little bit. 8 times 13 is 104. So -8x times 13 is -104x. I'm done with my -8x. Last is 16. Woo, and I'm running out of room just a little bit. So 16 times x squared is plus 16x squared, and I'm about to have to come down to the next row. 16 times -6 is 6. Okay, hold on, clear. 16 times -6 is -96. So 16 times -6x is -96x. And 16 times 13 is 208. So plus 208. Now I just have to take all of this and combine like terms. Highest degree should be 4. And if you look, that's what we have, x to the 4th right here. So I'm going to leave this a right here, and I'm going to bring my answer up here. And I'm going to put x to the 4th because I don't see another x to the 4th. And I am going to get rid of that guy. So now I'm going to go find all of my cubes. So I have one here, and I have one here, and that looks like it. So -6 minus 8 is -14, so minus 14x cubed. So now I'm done with those. Now I'm going to find all my squares. So here's a square, here's a square, and here's a square. And I'm going to use my calculator to kind of help me here. I have 13, and then plus 48, and where's my other square? Plus 16. And so I get 77. So positive 77x squared. Okay, so you don't get confused. You kind of get rid of what you're done with. So then minus 104 minus 96. So negative 104 minus 96 gives me negative 200 minus 200x x. So there we go. And then our constant term is plus 208. Now, we don't have any way of determining what a is, so we're going to leave it like this. A is some leading coefficient. We could put in any number here, and these would still have these zeros. So every solution with these zeros is accounted for here. If they gave us a point, we could figure out a, but they did not. So this is our final answer. And if you can do that one, you can do almost any of them.